Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the final season of Attack on Titan Part 2 episode number... What episode is this? 7. Episode 7 of Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2 is finally here. I'm not gonna be talking way too much on this intro, so... if you do enjoy the reaction, hit the like and subscribe as always. I am a manga reader, so I do know some of the things, however I will not be spoiling it for most of you anime only, so you should be fine watching this episode. Reaction and discussion as well, totally should be fine. Also, there is a full-length timer-based reaction in the description below, so if you want to watch the full episode with me, you can sync up your own copy of Attack on Titan and sync up with the timer below. And I guess with that being said, let's go jump right into the episode. The inner conflict. Like how much of a fanatic you have to be to say, yeah, sure, sacrifice my own sons and daughters if it's for the greater good, then... the place where Zachary blew up looked like it was being patched. I like that little detail. Someone's escaped. Good to have you back, Annie. Yeah, unfortunately, you were gone for like a few years, so what the tension? They always do it, like there's only one way to make tension in Attack on Titan work, and that is to show blood. I love how we're still hearing the rumbling in the background. Surprise, surprise!
Armin の声だけが遠くから聞こえて、そうじゃない時はずっと同じ闇の中。
Alone.
エレンの声を聞いた。世界を滅ぼすって、あれ本気で言ってんの？
Yeah, he's pretty serious on that.
本当に壁の巨人が。その足元も見なよ。私が兵士になってやった意味ある仕事はしたい。
Let's help up the citizens, yeah.
今なら答えてくれる。あんたたちの大層な目的のために踏み潰す。
Loving this so far.
どう思う？人を殺すことは褒められることだった。国境を越えれば、戦闘員も民間人も区別なく殺していいと教わった。私たちエルディア人の贖罪と世界を救う使命のため、すべての行いは正当化された。
Loving just how much they're showing the destruction and like the aftermath. Like this is basically showing us that this is what the rumbling is already capable of when it's not really trying to destroy it. Like one can imagine like how much the rumbling can actually destroy once it actually reaches other nations. Oh, we're finally getting the backstory.
私を周りの戦士に鍛え上げて自分の生活を豊かにすることだった。
Loving the background art.
時が経って
Oh wow, clear separation there.
望んだように強くなり、そうなるまでに痛めつけられた分を男に返した。けど男は喜んだ。これなら武器がなくても敵を殺せるって。何の話が始まったの？
Again, the atmosphere and the aesthetics, phenomenal.
だから私はどうなってもよかった。どこの国の何人が死のうが生きようが、自分を含めて命というものに価値があるとは思えなかった。島へ向かわさ、男は膝をついて私に謝った。
The flashback that we see in season 1.
間違っていたと。そして泣きながら懇願した。私には帰りを待つ父親がいる。そして私と同じように他の人にも大事な人がいる。取り返しのつかない罪を犯したと思っている。
Fully aware.
父の元へ帰るためなら
A father and his son.
ことをやる。
They nailed the tone for this episode. Oh, wow. Beautiful shot. The sunset.
地ならしが発動されたんだ。エレン・イエーガーが全ての命を奪いに来るぞ。それを信じるに値する根拠がないと言っている。どうせ集団で口裏を合わせてこっから逃げるつもりなんだろう。
Yeah, it's kinda sus, not gonna lie.
だから約束してくれ。
Come back home.
帰ってくるって。
分かった。約束する。
We didn't see that.
銃声か。許可。
Great transition.
この砦を仕切ってます。早く逃げましょう。いや。
Would you look at that?
もう私の居場所はどこにもない。
The person who kicked him out first in in part 1, now trying their best to keep Shadi's life.
アルミン、待って。今からラガコ村を目指して。
Ah, here we go.
追いつけない。じゃないとガビの信用を得られない。あの子が頼りだ。まだどこかに潜んでる。ライナーや車力の巨人をおとなしくさせられるかどうかがかかってる。
Always the voice of reason.
少しは自分で考えて。エレンのことどうするの？わからないよ。それにどうしようもないだろ。ハンジさんと兵長は殺されたかもしれないし、フロックたちが僕らにも銃口を向けるかもしれない。だからもうどうしようもないエレンのことなんか考える余裕はないよ。それくらいわかるだろ。ごめん。エルヴィン団長がこの場にいたらこんな無様に当たり散らしたりしなかったの。
And there we go.
生き返るべきだったのは僕じゃなかった。
Great scene. Well directed too.
マフラーがない。じゃあね。
Aw.
さよなら、ガビ。
みんな聞いてくれ。俺は10ヶ月前、エレンから今回の計画を聞いた。
There we go.
始祖の力をエレンが掌握する計画だ。
I mean, I'm not gonna say, but anime onlys, do you believe in what Floch is saying? That Aaron actually told him his plan? I'm not gonna tell you the answer, but it is something to think about.
ふざけるなクソ野郎。誰がお前なんかに。
Oh,
でも誇りに死ぬことはない。いいじゃないか、屈したって。こんな死に方するより生きてた方が。とにかく俺たちは4年前あの地獄を生き残ってようやくこれを手にしたんだ。 これが何かわかるか？自由だよ。もうお前らは戦わなくていい。好きに生きていい。
Floch playing the freedom card.
お前は憲兵になって内地で快適
What
に
is
暮ら
this
すんだ
OST?
そうしろよ。
Oh, it's a rendition of the OST that they use when Grusha is having his breakdown. That look that Onyakopon gave to Jean.
コニーさん、助けてもらってありがたいんですが、
No ED.
北に進んでますよね。父ちゃんもサニーもマーティンももう戻ってこないけど、母ちゃんだけは取り戻せる。俺は兵士になって、そしてありがとうございます、コニーさん。俺一人のためにここまでしてくれるなんて。いいんだ。コニーさんがいい人でよかった。
Oh, beautiful shot.
あの進路と速度から考えると、撤退戦はあのままマーレに戻るようですね。
Loving the contrast once the sky is actually blue.
ただ最後までみっともなくもがくまでだ。
ちょっと待って。とりあえず食べないで。え、あっちに誰かいる？ご安心ください。あれは人畜無害の死に損ないです。
Hey Joe. Alright. Episode 7 of Attack on Titan. That was actually a really great episode. I think they pretty much nailed the atmosphere and just the overall tone for this episode. There's really not much for me to say if I'm being completely honest. I think this is going to be like the shortest discussion I will ever have for Attack on Titan, if I'm being completely honest. But I guess I will start by saying that again, the shot compositions, the cinematography for this episode has been very much... It's great. Like the shots when Annie and Hitch are riding on the horse with the rumbling in the background, just casually walking. There's this sense of beauty in the destruction of it, and we are getting glimpses of how devastating this rumbling can actually do. And this is just the rumbling walking in a straight line without actually trying to trample anything. And already we are getting a bunch of civilian casualties. I guess this is a point that I do want to talk about. It's the point of fanaticism and how much you are willing to ignore the glaring issue that we are sacrificing ourselves for the quote-unquote greater good. Like, I can imagine in wartime, like I don't want to dive deeper into this. This is a very sensitive topic, but like in wartime, you know, like if you're thinking of like, I guess World War II, World War One, like let's say from the Axis powers, you know, like the Germans, for example. This is something that happens which is when a nation pretty much sacrificing a lot of their soldiers, and a lot of them are pretty much brainwashed with propaganda by saying, no, this is for the greater good. Trust me, your sacrifices will be for the better. This is an issue, and I feel like Attack on Titan just dipping into it, tackling a little bit of that issue. I find it to be a very smart move from Isayama, because like one, this is a very sensitive topic, and number two, you don't want to go deeper into it, because otherwise one wrong move and you're gonna anger, you know, a lot of very specific people. But yeah, overall, point is the fanaticism and how much you're willing to sacrifice and how much you're willing to to go for your cause doesn't just apply to them, the Elliots, but it also applies to Eren as well, who obviously is the person who is struggling with this dilemma the most. He is willing to sacrifice the world for the sake of his friends and family, and I feel like with later episodes down the line, this is going to be explored even further, so I'm not gonna personally dive deeper into it despite knowing what's gonna happen next. I mentioned this in the episode reaction. Looking at this shot right now, I feel like there's a clear, distinct separation between, I guess, what I would consider the slums and the industrialized modern city in Marley. Now, I don't know if the slums that I was talking about here is also part of the internment zone. I don't feel like it is, because it does feel a bit run down. Like there's a bunch of destruction, and the buildings are very much abandoned. So I don't think this is the case, but a clear sense of separation. Again, a common theme of Attack on Titan, being separated by walls, in this case being separated by a sewer, and by height as well. Kind of giving you a glimpse of how Annie used to be back when she was in Marley. And again, this is tying back all the way back to season 1 in the final episodes, where Annie is having this flashback of his father with her father. And what this episode kind of basically does is it also recontextualizes the meaning of that flashback back in season 1, and we are also getting an answer from Annie later on when she said that she will come back. It gives a little bit of urgency and a little bit of motivation, especially for us, the audience, to understand where Annie is right now standing on. She has a motivation to meet her father again, and her father, Mr. Leonhardt, also has the desire to meet Annie again. And right now their situation is a bit troublesome, because number 1, the rumbling, and number 2, Mr. Leonhardt is struggling to get the fuck out of the internment zone and having to face with what is the remaining of Marley's soldiers back in the internment zone. So what happens to Mr. Leonhardt? I feel like even if you are an anime only, I don't think you would assume that he died back then. An off-screen death. We don't do that in Attack on Titan. For being honest, if someone is gonna die in Attack on Titan, it's gonna be on screen. If it's gonna be off screen, then you're just gonna end up like Levi. But yeah, it is something to look forward to. Annie may potentially be meeting her father again, and this doesn't apply to Annie as well. This also applies to Reiner. Will Reiner meet his mom and his family again? Same thing with Gabi. So for you anime onlys, you're just gonna have to find out. Manga readers, don't spoil it, please. And kind of contrasting or juxtapositioning the thing that happened earlier in the episode when I was talking about fanaticism, here we are actually seeing when people actually starts to basically abandon that ideology and say, no, screw it, I want to protect the people that I actually care and love. And for these people, these are the same people who beat Shadis up back in part 1, and the fact that Shadis helped them out, they are giving it, they're basically returning the favor, and they are wanting and trying their best to actually keep Shadis alive and well. Shadis knowing that this may be very hard for them, and this can actually be seen as a traitorous action for them, also goes to show how much Shadis actually cares for for his students and his cadets. So really touching scene, goes to show that even people have their limits, and people will do anything to basically save the people that they love. Again, another running and common theme of the final season of Attack on Titan. Armin's breakdown, I feel like, was alright. It was fine. It's not the same level of gravitas that Grisha's breakdown gave, and I kind of wish. I guess this is just nitpicking because again, I don't have an issue with this scene at all. I think the voice actors did a pretty good job, but I kind of wish that the voice actress for Armin goes a step bit further. I don't know. Maybe I'm just asking too much. But again, completely fine. I just wish that I don't know. It just didn't have the level of impact of oomph, I guess, that I was kind of expecting. Still pretty good though. So no problems there. Mikasa's scarf is gone. So what happens? And if you remember back in the previous episode, Louise was looking at the scarf when she was when Mikasa was putting it away. So without giving any answers, but I feel like anime onlys would also get the hint already that maybe Louise was the one who took the scarf. And if that is the case, where is Louise right now? Would be the question that people should be asking right now. But I also find that this little segment right here very symbolic. It's like first Mikasa took the scarf away, and then once she is trying to look for it, it's actually gone. It's the idea of leaving something behind, and then that thing also leaves you behind, so you don't ever meet again. It's a parting farewell, and whether or not Mikasa is going to find the scarf again, we'll just have to wait and see for the next episode. I didn't mention this, but this is also a pretty good shot. Kaya and Mia hugging, basically showing us compassion and also showing us the cycle of hatred basically can be broken, and this is a sign of both the people of Marley, you know, the Eldians from Marley and the Eldians from Paradis actually working together and actually consolidating and amending. Also love that there is a little light on top of this, showing that, you know, again, showing like a sense of hope. Like this is a sense of like the last flickering light in all this darkness. So again, just a pretty good shot overall. I've already mentioned this before, but Floch really has grown as a character. He started as this single side character who nobody gives a shit about in season 3, and now he's kind of like filling in the role of the antagonist in the final season, at least the antagonistic role for most of our characters. And Floch isn't really the antagonist, he's actually on Eren's side, but it just goes to show how much a single person can turn from being a nobody into a somebody, and Floch is the perfect example of this. Never in a million years when I was watching season 3 that this person is going to end up like this. And I also love the contrast here. I've mentioned this before, but the contrast between the blue sky and the red ground, again, like having this sense of separation where on the sky it's actually clear, it's actually I guess quote unquote safe, and really showing this sense of freedom, you know, like birds flying around and everything. And then in the ground, you're basically stuck with this apocalyptic mess of a rumbling. Magav and Peak still alive. Hanji and Levi still alive, and this is going to be very interesting. Hanji and Levi trying to make a negotiation with Peak and Magath, a person who just doesn't want to die. And this is where we end the episode. So again, that's not really a long discussion. Maybe it is, I don't know. I've been recording for almost 50 minutes. Maybe it is gonna be a long discussion, I don't know. But yeah, final season of Attack on Titan, episode 7. Really great episode. Again, just because I wasn't talking a lot in the reaction doesn't mean that the episode is bad. I feel like the episode is really great. Really sucks me in because of the atmosphere and the tone of the episode. But it's not like this episode has a lot of like info dumps like the previous episodes. Like, it's not like anything is happening. The last episode and this episode and maybe the next episode, I would say, is more like a setup episode for what's to come, because we essentially already hit the climax with episode 5 with the rumbling happening, and now we're kind of in a receding line where the climax happened and now we're just kind of going, we're just dipping down, slowing things back, and just basically saying, hey, let's pull it down a bit, you know, like we've already reached the climax, and we basically need to set up a bunch of the key players and the main plot line for the next segment of the story, right? Because in the previous segment, the plot line is simple: stop Eren from reaching Zeke and activating the rumbling. That has already been reached, and now we have basically a new plotline, which is basically stopping the rumbling, but we don't know how, and that is basically what we are setting up with. We're setting up the main players, and we are setting up how we're going to reach that goal. So until then, I feel like most of my discussions for the next couple of episodes is gonna be fairly minute and you know, not really thought-provoking and everything in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the reaction, hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, hit the like, subscribe as always, and I will see you all next week for the next episode of Attack on Titan. Take care, guys.